If there's one piece of advice I think I would like to tell a new player of Dwarf Fortress, it's to try to learn the game one part at a time. Because Dwarf Fortress is a complicated game, but it's not because any pieces of it are very complicated, though a few are. It's more that there's a lot of interconnected systems that make it complicated when they're all working together. So if you have a video like this, or you're using the wiki, which is a great resource that even I still use, you can kind of figure out one thing at a time, like how to farm or how to set up the flow from like farming and animals to being processed through the appropriate workshops and things like that. Because there is way too much information to just learn everything all at once. Anyway, this is what it looks like right when you embark. I'm at a pretty big resolution, but everything is still visible. I'm using a graphic set that is basically the same as the normal one. It's just square instead of rectangular. So the first thing you're going to see, and I can push Q here to bring up a cursor, is we've got a wagon in the middle. And in that screen is the kind of active everything going on screen. And then the next window over is your hotkeys. And on the far right is a map. And you can push tab to cycle through showing one or none of those. If you're new, you're probably going to want to leave the hotkeys up until you start to memorize them. If you even end up playing that much. So this is, like I guessed before, pretty flat. And see over here there's some stone, and I see some metal here. Hematite, that's actually really good because that is the ore for iron, I believe, which is one of the better metals to make military equipment out of. Anyway, let's see. Under Q, it brings up a cursor for set building tasks / preferences. And this is how you interact with buildings. And so over on the right, you see at the top of the window, it says wagon. At the bottom, it says remove building and done. So if you push remove building, which we want to do, whichever dwarf has the appropriate matching skill for taking apart the wagon will go ahead and do that. And you want to do this because once you get here, the wagon no longer does anything and it has all your stuff on it. So see there, all of these stuff kind of spilled out. And so there are lots and lots of strategies to trying to design your fort and how you lay it out and stuff like that. Efficiency is somewhat of a consideration, but all that will do is make things go faster. So I think a lot of people end up somewhere between what is mechanically efficient and what looks nice. And I think that's definitely where I am. So first thing, one of the most important things you have is D for designations, which brings up another menu. And when you're on this menu, if you push any of those hotkeys, it will switch to designating that thing. So right now it's on T for chop down trees. So if I push enter, it will start designating an area under the cursor. And I can move the cursor around to somewhere else, and this will create a box. And when I hit enter again, it will designate all the trees there to be chopped down. Obviously, I'm assuming if you've gotten this far, you know that you control this game with the arrow keys, and there is a little bit of mouse support here and there, but it's, well, they added it at the point where I had already gotten used to playing without it, so I'm not sure how well it works. I don't think it's supported in enough things to be justified, but not having mouse support isn't as bad as it seems. You just have to get used to it a little bit. So those trees went from the brown O to sort of the inverted colors around that square, and that means they're designated to be chopped down. Whoever has wood cutting as a job activated will then cut those down. Another important thing I want to get out of the way is V for view units. And V lets you get more information and control your dwarves. So if you hover over one, it'll give you name, how good they are at everything, and then there is a set of hotkeys down at the bottom, and those go to different pages. So we can look at their inventory with I and their wounds. If they're white, that means they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. If they have injuries, they'll start changing colors. More on that later. But Z then also opens the status, and from here you can customize them and view their description and all that. But what I want to do is go to Preferences, and then up at the top we've got more hotkeys: labor, work, animals, and occupation. If you go to labor, this brings up the job screen. So this is where if you need a dwarf to do something different or stop doing something for whatever reason, you go in here, and also you can see what they're enabled for. So mining is just mining, but if you go into some of the other ones like stoneworking, it opens up a sub-menu of all the related jobs. And so you can see if all of them are activated, it's white. If some are, it's light gray, and if none are, it's darker gray. And the last little basic thing is K. Let's see, what is K described as? Look. And that is really great if you just want to see what something is. So a lot of this green, commas, periods, hyphens, it's mostly grass of one kind or another, some bushes and stuff. You can see we have this little smiling happy face for the dwarf, and this one-humped camel was actually pulling the wagon, so we get that for free. Usually get a couple of animals for free. We got some D's, those are dogs. And I'm not going to stop and describe what absolutely everything is, but I'm using a font that is basically the default, so it should look the same as a game that doesn't have any graphics or different tile sets, but that is something that you can customize. And there are I think there's even a thing called the Lazy Noob Pack, if I'm not mistaken, and that gives you like an installer and lets you choose a graphic or tile set and stuff like that. But personally, I guess I just got used to the default look, and so that's what I like. And plus, I think it's best to learn on this so you kind of understand what the game by default looks like. So let's go ahead and start making a fort. I'm going to go to D for designate, and then go to, there's J for downstairs and U, I believe, for upstairs. Yep, I'm just making sure what I'm saying is consistent with what's on the screen. So we go to J for downstairs, and then I think I'm going to put it near where the river is vertical over here, and nowhere in particular. And then, and this part is going to be real confusing, but Dwarf Fortress is on layers. And if you look at the very, very far right edge of the screen, there's a sort of a vertical line that starts blue on top, and then it has a light blue square in the middle and then turns brown, and that's where you are vertically. So you're looking top down, but there is verticality and there's vertical movement. So if you hold shift and then press greater than or less than, it goes up, and this is one up. So you see the little blue, the little lighter blue square has gone up one, and we can see some of the tree branches and stuff. And then greater than goes down, and we can see under the ground. So you need to get from the surface down one level. You need a downstairs on top, which is what I have here, the little greater than. And then if you hover your cursor over it and go down a layer by pushing shift and greater than, you'll still be in the same spot, and then you can push U, switch to upstairs, hit enter twice to designate that. Ooh, that was a word. And then whoever has mining will come over and dig that out. So since I have that, and it looks like, actually, I think I want to put it, yes, I think I want to move it. So if you hit X, it removes designation, and you can actually push enter, and this works with most things that you can designate for. I've hit enter, so I'm designating my box, and I'm going to go up a floor by pushing less than, and then I'm going to push enter again, and it will actually designate vertically. So I just remove designations on both of those floors. So I think I actually want to go up over here where there's sand under the ground. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm actually going to add a little stairwell area here. And this is something that I do because I like the way it looks generally. You can do I for up down stair and just like hit enter and go as far down as you want, and that'll function. They can go down and up that. The only problem with that is it is a slight safety hazard, because if a dwarf falls on those stairs, it will fall to the bottom. And if the stairwell is, you know, more than a couple of floors deep, that will end up hurting them. So usually what I like to do is you have your down stairwell, and then right below it you have your up stairwell, or down rather. Below that you go up, and you go down, and you go up, you go down. And then you can I just like to outline a little box so the dwarves can step around each other. Dwarves can move through the same space of another dwarf, but they have to crawl, and that slows them both down. So this is fairly efficient because they have to take one step to go down a stair, and then one step to go to the next one step to go down. You could feasibly do something a little bigger where there's a space in between the two stairwells without adding an extra step. But hey, if you think that looks nicer, one step, it doesn't take that long. So it's been paused this whole time. Whenever you load it into a game, it's automatically paused, which it says up in the upper left. And you press space to pause and unpause. So I'll go ahead and unpause. I think I did that once already, but and you see the white dwarf is going to mine, and he is white because mining is his best skill. And I've struck more magnetite. So that's great. It looks like there's a lot of iron ore here. So he's going to keep mining. And those little, how would you describe them? I'll put the cursor over them. They're like circles with spines, almost like snowflakes. These are gems. And you see after it's been mined, it comes out as a gem. There's the magnetite and hematite. Okay, one of these is definitely iron. I don't remember which off the top of my head, but okay. Now that we're down this far, I think I'm going to make a fairly large hallway. Generally, you want any hallway that's going to be traveled a decent amount to be at least 2 wide for what I was saying earlier about doors being able to move past each other. Anything bigger than that isn't going to help a ton unless it's a super heavily trafficked area. But I'm going to go ahead and hold shift when I press up, and that'll move me a particular number farther away. And I like to use that to keep things symmetrical. And so see here, I started a designation, and then I went out and I go over 3, and that keeps the box consistent. So they will continue doing that. And while they're doing that, I don't want all of my supplies to go bad. And food will go bad if it's sitting outside. So, but I'm already down a few layers, and I don't want to have to push my hotkeys to go up a bunch of times. So what I'm going to do is hit F1. And F1, or the function keys in general actually, are used as hotkeys to snap the camera to. So if you push Shift H, that opens up your hotkeys, and by default, F1 is where your wagon started. So I actually want it to be the stair going down into my fort. So I'm going to put the camera where I want it to go when I hit F1, and then push Z, and it will now zoom to there instead of the wagon. And that's handy because as your fort gets bigger, you'll want to be able to quickly jump between different spaces, or you know, if you get lost, it can get you back to looking at something that you're familiar with. So, to get my food inside, I push I. Nope, I'm incorrect. You do not push I, push P. I is zones, P is stockpiles. And you have some presets for various types of things, but I want to do a custom stockpile that's just everything, so they can get everything inside. In short order. So animals, that's caged animals. Food, furniture, not corpses. because those make miasma and often disturb dwarves. Same with refuse, minus the disturbing part, and also not stone, because stones are heavy and it takes a long time for dwarves to move them. But pretty much everything else for a just general pile of everything. And I'll just put it right here. And all dwarves by default who can work have hauling activated by default. So basically anyone who's not doing something will go ahead and start moving those things down, and you can see them going for it. You can also see the little yellow dwarf. And yellow is woodcutting and woodworking skills. He's chopping down those trees. And so they'll also start taking that wood down if they have room. And so some of the things I'm considering as the fort is starting is, and why did we jump over here? So I'm going to push, the camera just snapped to this uncovered block, but I don't have a message at the bottom of the screen, so I'm going to push A for view announcements. All right, it's just telling me about things I hit, so I'm not sure why I did that, but okay. So as I've just started this fort, a couple of the things I'm thinking about right now are, how am I going to start getting food? How am I going to start getting alcohol? How am I going to start generating value? And how am I going to start making furniture for living spaces and several other things? So what I'll do for making things and having food and whatnot is I'm going to start making spaces for workshops. And workshops, if you go into B for build and W for workshops, they're all on this page, you have a large set of workshops. And the two that I want right now are carpenter and mason. And they go 3 by 3, so I could fit them in this hallway, but that would be ugly to me for one, and two would be kind of disorganized. And there's a lot of ways you can do this. One really simple thing you can do is just like you could go out a little farther and just have a big room, have a stockpile that has everything, just put workshops around the edges. That's really simple and works fine usually. I like to keep it a little more organized, and it also makes it a little more efficient because the doors tend to be closer to what they're using. I like to make little side rooms based on whatever the workshop in there uses. So I think I'll actually leave these two a little open for a hallway. And then up here, actually don't want it there, I want it over here, we'll put in a, let's see, I think I want a 6 by 3 for stone. So 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that, and put another door in there. Dwarves will, at any given time, just use the most efficient route they can to get somewhere, so having a second door isn't necessary. That's just something I put in because it makes it symmetrical, and I think that makes it look nicer. Again, for this one, let's see, the one on the right is going to be for stone, the one on the left is going to be for wood, and I think I actually want this one to be a bigger one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.